Hi, my name is Thomas Gibbs with US Franchise Visa, and in this video, we'll discuss the franchise opportunity WSI with Daniel Lattanzio, Senior Vice President of Franchise Development. Daniel, thanks for being on the call today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So give us the high-level overview of the opportunity, when it was started, how many franchise units you guys got, what your guys' vision is, what's all that look like?
Sure. Well, let me start with WSI stands for We Simplify the Internet. We are a digital marketing agency, a network of agencies around the world. We actually started in 1995 as a web development company. And I'll tell you a real quick story. We started with a better mousetrap at the time. So if you can remember in 95, people were surfing the internet, not searching, and companies had these kind of display virtual brochures online, and you had to point people to the address. Well, our better mousetrap was to make, something more customized, where you're still working with modular code, and as a matter of fact, as we call it, modular development technology. And through that modular development, we could create something that was more customized, more unique, instead of those cookie cutter type of websites that were being developed. And as you know, the internet has moved at a lightning speed, and our franchise model needed to change. Through that change, that evolution, I've been here since '96, so I think I saw it change at least 6, 7 times. We learned a lot. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned from those mistakes. We are today because of what we've evolved from. And from that web development company to where we are today, we consider ourselves consultants first. We target small to medium-sized businesses. We uncover their business strategy first, and then develop a digital marketing plan that fits that company. Yeah, and we do it through franchising and our network of franchisees around the world.
Awesome. Well, yeah, any internet-based company that's been around since the 90s certainly has a major claim to fame. Who founded the company and how did they even come up with this in the mid 90s? There was basically no internet then.
Yeah, 3 individuals. Definitely the visionary. One of the co-founders, his name's Dan Monahan, and he just, they started as writing books, personal development. They really had a good core concept between the 3 of them of helping and making a difference. And in doing that, they looked at an opportunity to help businesses. And Dan, who was probably the true pioneer in this, knew and had an idea that IT was going to take us to new heights when it came to business and what we currently looked at in business. And he's got this great way of getting out of the box, so to speak, and seeing what's coming down the pipeline. Yeah, and he knew that we had to grow in franchising because the industry, even though it was at its infancy then, was already moving at lightning speed. So he knew he needed to have an agile company, and to do that, you needed to have people that were vested and invested in the business.
So does he serve in the business still today?
He is still very much a part of the business. He has a group of franchises. So we all are part of a bigger family at this point in time, but yes.
Okay, great. So he basically saw the opportunity, has created this structure, and now what does the management team look like at the top, and how are they kind of staying on top of all of this? Because you're right, it changes so fast. 5 years from now, frankly, I don't think anybody can predict what the internet's really going to look like in 5 years, because it's just evolving so quickly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's something that we've organically grown into. And when I say that, let me give you a little bit of history. In our digital marketing and planning and consultation, we also do the fulfillment side of the business. We do it through a supply chain that we've put together. It's a group of suppliers that are offering services to our franchisees. They've contracted with us. We have service level agreements with them. Those are then, translated to the franchisee. So as they're offering these services, we've got this best of breed type of supplier out there in the marketplace that's kind of governed by us, yet they compete with each other because there's more than one supplier for each service that we offer. So our franchisees kind of have this open market concept that allows them to stay cutting edge, bleeding edge, if you wish, because they're always trying to reinvent themselves as well. So now, as a franchisor, we have access and transparency to what our franchisees are doing with their clients, what their clients are needing and requesting, and we have transparency into what the suppliers are offering and delivering to our franchisees and their clients. So with that level of transparency, we can pick up trends very easily. We could see what's happening in the UK, in France, in the US, and Canada, see a small customization and realize that it's a trend, repackage it, and let our franchisees know that you should be targeting your clients with this type of new promotion or this type of new structure or business or service.
Okay. Okay. So here we are in late spring 2019, and the biggest emerging thing that I can think of is like AI chatbots. What's that look like right now, and how are you guys working on implementing that?
Yeah, well, AI and machine learning is really about crunching data. So having the data and the information so that you can make trends out of that. And how we use it will, the biggest company out there that has data are the Googles and Facebooks and companies like that, because they're collecting data at every stage of you being online.
Yeah.
And you think that they understand kind of like the tip of the iceberg, everything above water, but what they really understand is everything below water. And what has been changing, or what we've been teaching to our franchisees, is that forever, I'm going to say, it's always been about harnessing demand. Online digital marketing has always been about harnessing demand. Today, with the onset of AI and machine learning, it's about creating demand, generating demand. You may not know what you think you need until it's presented to you. And that's where it's taken us now into the future. How we prepare for it is having, key educational material to our franchisees to help them explain it to their business, their clients. Having platforms in place for, this marketing automation. Having proper dashboards in place so their clients can understand this analytic review of data and information and what this machine learning is now telling us about their business, about their clients, about their future clients, their personas. So having all this in place as a consulting opportunity and service, and then fulfillment through platforms and alliances with different companies like the Googles and Facebooks, and but also other companies that help us do this machine learning or marketing automation.
So is it fair to say that your guys' collective intelligence is really about the sheer volume you guys are working with in terms of your franchisees and your clients and your contractors that fulfill those needs?
That is a huge value proposition for our franchise model. Yeah, absolutely. The power of the network, the power of our supply chain, and the existing portfolio that we currently have.
Okay, great. So if I'm coming from, say, the United Kingdom or Australia or Canada into America, and I don't know what a chatbot is, I barely know what Facebook is, should I even be considering this opportunity, or am I going to get such good training that I'll be able to learn it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we always say that you do not need to have digital marketing experience. I'm not sure that's 100% exact where you don't have any experience. You definitely need to have a passion for it. You definitely need to have an ability to commit to learning and continuous learning. It's not just about going through training and thinking you're going to know everything. So the passion should drive the learning. So yes, you can learn everything you need to know about digital marketing. What we look for, though, because you bring up a question about the type of franchisees, we are looking for people who've understood consulting, have been in a position of management and oversaw people, or been in a position where they've been involved in business strategy for their company, and also understand that this is a value proposition. We're not selling commodity. You do need to sit down and educate your client. So we can teach them digital marketing. We can teach them the services of consulting. They need to have the right passion to learn it. That's the way I'd say it. So if they had a little bit of base, it helps them out tremendously, and there's less of a learning curve for them.
Okay. Okay. So when you talk about passion, how that's hard to quantify. I mean, how do you as corporate, so to speak, how do you quantify when someone has passion and they're qualified and someone doesn't have passion and, they're just faking it?
We take them through a fairly lengthy selection process, kind of a two-way street where we review the entire business itself with them, understand the details, a day in the life of a franchisee, we run a profile analysis on them as well, talk to them about the different requirements of the business, what they would need to be doing on a daily basis. And then we have them speak to some of our key department people. So they sit down and they're part of our virtual discovery day. So they'll actually meet and sit with some of our key leaders in different departments, because they're the ones that are driving the business forward, but also they're the ones meeting with them. And then on top of it, we get feedback from our franchisees. So we have this nominations council that franchisees themselves give us a thumbs up, thumbs down type of approach with new new potential franchisees. So having said that, we try and make sure that people are entering this business with eyes wide open of what they're going to need to do, what that passion actually looks like, what our network's like, what the culture here at the home office is, and what our franchisees' ethics like, so that they can determine, is this a right fit for them?
Okay, great. No, that's really good. At US Franchise Visa, we represent literally hundreds of different franchisors, and occasionally we hear, financially you just got to be qualified and show up and be willing to work. A process like what you just described, Daniel, certainly leads me to believe that you guys are going to probably turn away a fair amount of folks. If you got 10 candidates that meet, call it your financial qualifications, which are typically just the lowest bar, so to speak, in becoming a franchisee, how many out of 10 would you say are going to get to the point where they're getting offered the opportunity?
Yeah, I would say maybe the 1 out of that 10. It really depends on how far they go into the process. I just want to go back to something you said, though. It's not just us qualifying them or approving them. It really is a two-way street. We'll know halfway through the selection process, sometimes a quarter through it, sometimes, right at the very end. But it's a mutual decision to say, this really isn't going to be right for you because of this. What do you think? And that's normally how we come up to a decision. And we hope that our goal is to educate people on who and what WSI is. And if they don't choose to buy the franchise, or if they're not the right ones for the franchise, or if they're not the right fit, then we're hoping they could potentially be clients to our franchisees in the future. That's our goal.
Yeah. I mean, you've educated them along the way about the value that you guys add, and, certainly going to make it top of mind for a business owner or a potential business owner, or, director of marketing in the future.
Yeah. But going back to your question, I would say probably 1 out of the 10.
Okay. Great. No, that's good. So that means you guys probably got really good franchisees. Tell me a success story or two about someone that's recently come on and is just taking names.
Well, I'll start with an individual who's not an E-2 visa client, but had to migrate. So this individual, a woman, she worked for Accenture. So she had the consulting background that I was referring to before. She's worked with multitude of different companies at that kind of strategy level where you're talking about how to move that business forward. And she's from Turkey, so she was moving to the UK. I believe it was her husband who already was from the UK, so it was an easy transition for her, but she had to start with zero network. Understanding our model, understanding, again, this transparency that we have in what we do and how we do it, we can immediately develop a marketing plan that's specific to this person in that specific geographical area. And we carve out certain vertical markets for her, and we say, these are the type of clients you should be approaching. Here's the industry knowledge that we've already acquired from those vertical markets. And again, that speaks to the fact that we're consultants first, and helping them to understand their business strategy means you should have some industry knowledge as well. So when we piece all that together and we create a marketing plan, a business strategy, a go-to-market opportunity, this individual has brought on, I would say in her first 6 months, almost 130,000 pounds of business, which is huge. You asked for knocking it out of the park. Her biggest claim to fame would be, in my opinion, having a great network that was somewhat transferable to the UK, but more importantly, being able to sit with a client, educate them, build trust, confidence, and belief. That's the biggest.
So she was really using her experience with Accenture to use that skill and gain clients.
Yeah, almost how to forensically dissect a company and understand their business strategy and core strategy in order to offer the right digital marketing plan. And I'll give you another example. Gentleman's name is Daniel Santos, was from Mexico, did acquire an E-2 visa. Believe it was in Miami. Yes, it was in Miami. His previous background was sales and marketing at a telecom industry, so in the telecom industry. And it was between South America, Central America, and parts of the US. Now, his background has always been through Mexico. We worked in, I believe it was Costa Rica, Chile, a bunch of different areas in the Latin American marketplace. And then decided to bring his family over to the US. In his circumstances, it was mainly for security. He was feeling somewhat threatened in his hometown and country. So he said, it's better that we move to the US. In doing that, he successfully acquired an E-2 visa, purchased a WSI franchise, started to conduct a lot more digital marketing services to a very unknown area for him. Even though he had been doing some work in the US, it was strictly in the telecom industry. Started to build a business there and then transferred that knowledge of digital marketing to his network throughout LATAM, including Mexico. So now he's actually set up kind of like this tri-country system for digital marketing. Been very, very successful in doing that.
Awesome. So franchisees have an unlimited territory. How does territory work?
So we do have 3 sets of territories. There's a local, regional, and national. Each one of them has an increase in the price level that they're paying. But yeah, they can increase their territory as they see fit.
Okay. And it sounded like he has multiple countries. Is that another license, so to speak, or how does that work?
We have multinationals and internationals. I will tell you, though, they're not that common. We want to make sure that an individual can actually support clients virtually and in different countries. We don't want them biting off more than they can chew. We want to make sure that our quality and service level stays at its highest. So it's not available to everybody, but yes, we do have a multinational and international type of license.
Okay. What would you say is the most common license that new franchisees are signing?
Typically, it's a national license.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we're so already national at a minimum. Here I am in Arizona, and you're on the other side of the country, and
Yep.
it's just completely like we're right here in the same office.
Yeah. And
Um,
even if someone has a national, for instance, the entire US, it doesn't mean they have to do business in every single state. Having business in 3 or 4 or 5 different states and doing it virtually like this is what's important. They can branch out and really hone in. By the way, you know, our franchisees have an opportunity to target either a niche market or perhaps niche services. There's a lot of flexibility in how they build their business. And a lot of that comes from their background, their skill set, what they can transfer over to this opportunity.
Awesome. Well, that's great. You look at some franchises and they're pretty rigid in their product offering, their territory. You get 100,000 people, you got to have this equipment and this truck, and you're going to charge at this price because the market dictates it. And, you know, I'd call it the golden handcuffs. They probably know what they're doing in that franchise model, but you're probably also kind of limited in terms of your ability to scale and have impact and add tremendous value to a lot of people. But with something like this, I mean, you could have clients all across the world and deliver tremendous value to them. So
Yeah.
I was not paid to say that, by the way. So um, so if we go back to the point where we are the newbie, we barely know what Facebook is. Tell us about the first 90 days, the initial training and that support that's going to come early on in the process of being a franchisee.
Sure, absolutely. And let me just again rephrase that. If you don't even know what Facebook is, then this may not be the right opportunity for you. So I wouldn't start at that level. But yeah, the first 90 days. So uh, we have a 4 to 6 week pre-training program. During that pre-training program, it's all virtual. You're growing your baseline of knowledge and education about digital marketing and what our offering is all about. So during that 4 to 6 weeks, there is a lot of intense learning about what digital marketing actually is without the actual hands-on doing. The 1 week training here in Toronto, you are now learning the fundamentals of how to do it, how to conduct it. It's actually case methodology type of training. And then once you've completed the 1 week training in Toronto, we don't expect you to know everything. So I think it's very unique in franchising. We've got a 6 month, we call it QSP. QSP stands for Quick Start Program. It's a 6 month guided business coaching program. So over that 6 month period, there are weekly initiatives, checklists, and phone calls by themselves, one-on-one, and with the group of franchisees that they started with to understand that, what the next steps are for them to grow and build their business. So in those checklists, they're ensuring that they're doing the right things, marketing to the right type of clients and companies. They're learning the right elements of digital marketing. They're presenting the right type of proposals. They're conducting what's called an IBA, Internet Business Analysis, getting the right feedback from our business coach that all the questions have been answered properly, giving them help with which suppliers they need to use. So all the first elements of being in this business, they're not alone. They've got this business coach for that 6 month window. And we feel that that 6 month window is what gets you to that starting where you've got a very zero level or small level of understanding what digital marketing is to a digital marketing agency. That's the timeline.
Awesome. Okay. So for that first 4 to 6 weeks, do we have to be in the country, or could we still be in our home country?
Virtual. Yeah, so you can still be at your home base, wherever that is.
Okay, perfect. Great.
Mhm.
And then what's it like when we're, say, 2, 3 years in? I mean, obviously the first 3 months we're learning a lot. And then in years 2 and 3, we're obviously going to be delivering things to clients and adding real value to our client base. But I guess the question is, what does a day in the life look like for a franchisee, say 24 or 36 months in?
So when you're at that stage, that level, you've got a base of clients. And our business is one that has recurring revenue streams because the type of services that we offer need continuous change, evolution. There's analytics we need to review. So there's consulting right there. There's services and products that we're going to need to add on, evolve, extend to a client. And we're always retooling to, again, map the digital marketing plan with their business strategy. So having said that, day in the life of the franchisee, walks in the morning, understands what their current schedule's like, which clients they may need to be speaking to, who's on radar for a new, analytics review of certain activity business. They're probably having a meeting with their key people because you can grow and scale this business. And their key people would be either client managers, those people that are running those analytics review, understanding conversion, where basically we report a return on investment to our clients. Everything they spend with us is an investment. We report the return, what's exactly happening. So they'll meet with their client managers and their salespeople because you always want to bring on new business. We're very lucky to have a good retention rate, but they'll always need to be bigger and more business. So a day in the life is getting set up, working with your existing clients, managing your staff, and looking to see what other new opportunities are out there for you. And then most importantly, I would say weekly for sure, if not daily, you're always looking to stay ahead of the curve and spend a little time in educating yourself what's changed in the digital marketing landscape. And by the way, we present all that information to them. So it's basically about opening up an email or picking up a link and clicking through it and, identifying what we've just trained.
So we don't have to go follow Gary Vaynerchuk and figure out what the next Uber is.
Right.
That's helpful. That's helpful. Okay. So, so basically we're doing a lot of client facing work, so to speak, once we're a couple of years in. If we're plugging along, doing, getting lots of clients, adding lots of value, how many employees would you say we're going to range in between? Are we going to have 0? Are we going to have 100? What's that going to look like?
So typically, and this is if you want to scale your business. Obviously, as a franchisor, we want you to scale your business. It's more efficient for us to manage fewer franchisees than many more. But having said that, there's a lot of flexibility. You can balance your work and family life, absolutely, and only have 1 or 2 or 3 employees. Excuse me. It does mean you will have a capacity of how many clients you can have on board. And if you're happy with that revenue amount and that kind of target, great. That's the type of franchise you want to build. If you're not, you want to scale it even further. Typically, our biggest franchisee is looking, I think they have around 8 employees. So nothing close to 100, as you mentioned. It's usually around 8 to maximum, maybe 10. And our largest franchisee is making over $2 million in gross revenues. Yeah.
Okay, so we can grow this to $1 million a year business without having 20 part-time people working in our kitchen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really is, though, what you said. There's a lot of client-facing activity. One of our, I would say it's one of our values, it's one of our mandates. We always say we want to make a difference. We want to make a difference in that company's business, their life, the people that work at that company. We want to be part of their growth. We want to be their partner in helping to develop that next step, that next company goal with them. And that's how we know we've actually done well.
Great. Okay. So to review, we ideally have a little bit of consulting background or more.
Mm-hmm.
We have perhaps some sales background, some management experience perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
what about capital? What kind of capital are we looking to bring for, say, like the franchise fee? And then what about operating capital?
Okay, perfect. So the franchise fee does start at 49,700 US. That is a local territory. There's a regional territory that's typically statewide. That's 59,700. And the national, which does seem to be the one that people do normally tend to gravitate to and purchase, is 69,700. So you can see there's a scale of $10,000 between each one. At that level of investment, you will need anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 of working capital. The majority of that capital is going to be spent on marketing your business to get prospects and turn them into clients. Outside of that, it's going to be very specific to the franchisee and what their level of required investment is for their personal lifestyle. But on a company basis, it's $15,000 and $20,000, and that also covers, by the way, your trip here to Toronto.
Okay. Okay. So if we go with basically the national and we've got proper operating capital, we're looking at under $100,000 investment, and we can basically grow a business that has the capability to do, that's already been proven, 2 million in sales. Is that right?
Over time, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Like I said, U.S. franchise visa, we work with hundreds of different opportunities, and I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to find a better potential return that is an E-2 visa friendly opportunity. Generally speaking, you got to employ some people or have some contractors that, you show you're creating jobs to be able to maintain your visa. So something like this is going to fit that mold, and probably can give you a really good lifestyle too. So it's something to consider. We've got their website link in the description down below, so feel free to check out their website. Daniel, if after watching this video, we're really excited, what would be the best or most logical next step?
Would be to reach out to us by email. We would set up an appointment for you. We have on our website, we have something called an applicant learning center. It starts by giving you a little bit more insight into what the opportunity is, but asks you to fill out a form, and that starts the process. So I would say commit to the time in learning what this business truly is and what it's all about, and if they're going to be the right fit for this company, and if this company is going to be the right fit for them. We talk about a number of different things. That's the only commitment we're looking for. Not until the very end of the entire process and after they've spoken to franchisees is when we ask for their decision, financial commitment. And of course, they'll have our decision at that time too.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Next step is reach out to us on that email, and we'll start the process.
Great. Well, again, we've got that link in the description down below. Feel free to click there and start the process with Daniel and the WSI team. And again, thank you so much for being on the call today. We really appreciate you taking the time and educating us about the opportunity.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.